Cheers, Judy. It's tulip time.
We'll explain more next on Garden Time.
Welcome to Garden Time and welcome Wooden Shoe Bulb. Now they're planting their tulips now for next spring, but you can still stop by for a glass of wine and some other red hemp products.
And in a few weeks we'll be back to show you the hemp harvest.
Coming up in the show today, we'll show you how to decorate a pumpkin.
We'll also be showing you how to oversee your lawn to enjoy next spring.
But coming up first, some fall peony care.
I'm at Adelman Peonies with Carol Adelman, and so Carol, you always talk about pretty flowers, but the fall we really need to get those flowers ready for next year. So what do we do for plants this time of year?
Well, these are deciduous plants, and so they die to the ground in the winter, and it's always a good idea to get rid of the foliage that might have any fungus disease or botrytis on it and put it in the garbage. So we usually have them cut them down clear to the ground between Halloween and Thanksgiving. But this one is at a good spot that looks kind of bad in my yard, so I think I'd like to go ahead and cut it down.
All right, let's go show that, because some of them still look so beautiful and they have fall color, but some of them are already starting to get dormant.
Right, it's not disease, it's just a natural process.
And so we would cut these down, we would cut intersectionals down all the way?
Yes.
And then what about tree peonies? Do we do any kind of shaping or anything with those?
Tree peonies usually should prune right after bloom so that you don't lose any of your buds for the following year.
Oh, okay. And then any other care with the tree peonies besides that?
You can fertilize those too.
All right, and we do have some of the fertilizer here, and so Carol's going to be cutting this one down all the way to the ground. A great time to do it now, or you can wait between Halloween and Thanksgiving, you said?
That's correct.
Great. And then you can also get this here at Adelman Peonies or online?
Yes.
Excellent. And then any other kind of food that we can use if we don't have this one?
Just use regular tulip daffodil bulb fertilizer.
All right, and then how do we put it on?
We want to put it out at the drip line, and the drip line is where the edges of the far leaves go, because that's where the fine roots are that take up the nutrition and the moisture.
All right. And then is there a certain amount, a couple handfuls per plant?
It says on here 1/8 of a cup for brand new plants and 1/4 of a cup for 10 stems and 1/2 a cup for mature plants.
Excellent. So you always want to read the package, and then you get that dose to put down. And then this is ready to go for the winter?
Yes, the rain will soak all that into the ground, so no need to mess with it.
So Carol, you've cut, you've fertilized, and so what do we do with the old foliage?
Now you should put it in the garbage in case there are any fungus spores on there to cause botrytis, and you don't want it to attack your plant next spring. So don't put it in the compost, put it in the garbage.
All right, and then what about winter care? We're going to be going through some crazy weather.
Peonies are very winter hardy. They grow in Minnesota and up into Canada. So in Oregon, even Eastern Oregon, you don't have to worry about them in the winter. They're winter hardy.
All right, and then what about springtime? Then what do we do?
You can put a light fertilizer on them again if you want, and if you have any botrytis, you could spray with a fungicide that's registered for black spot on roses, and that will help that. Otherwise, they'll just grow and be glorious for you.
And then it's flower time again.
It is.
You know, we can't wait again for flower time next year, but you need to take care of your peonies this time of year. So please go to Adelman's website. You can pick up this fertilizer, or you can go to Garden Time and be clicked over. Carol, thanks so much. Always great information.
Thank you.
At Blooming Junction, fall isn't about winding down, it's about getting ready. In the garden, start the next season off right now. Fall plantings produce healthier, more robust, and drought-tolerant plants than those planted in spring or summer. In the kitchen, get ready for the holidays with fresh, organically grown produce from our fields. So, whether it's for the garden or for the kitchen this season, Blooming Junction is your place for quality, uncommon plants and produce for your home and garden.
Don't let the cold and wet get you this winter. Warm up to a season of heat with Grimm's Fuel. Grimm's has plenty of wood and heating oil ready to deliver to keep you warm all winter long. Stay warm and cozy with Grimm's Fuel.
Every year, trees fall or break, causing property damage, power outages, and injury.
Now is the time for Bartlett tree experts and Collier Arbor Care to get your trees ready for the extreme conditions ahead.
Our free consultation will help to spot the signs of potentially hazardous trees.
We can help address problems before they occur. Whether it's trees or shrubs, we can help you get a healthy and beautiful garden.
Collier Arbor Care and Bartlett tree experts, providing environmentally safe tree care since 1907.
Find everything you need for fall at Al's Garden and Home.
Well, I'm here today with Chris from JB Instant Lawn, and Chris, as we're getting into fall time, our lawns have kind of taken a little bit of a beating over the summer. And, it's getting to be that time of year where we kind of want to rejuvenate our lawn going into winter and next spring. So what do we need to be doing this time of year for a lawn?
Well, the first thing I would start doing is to prepare your lawn for overseeding. So if there's a moss issue that happens to be in there, I would get something to get rid of the moss, clean the moss out of your lawn.
Okay.
If there's weeds of any sort, I would use a liquid weed and grass killer to take care of those and get them out. If you use a weed and feed granule type, it'll take a lot longer. You have to wait at least 6 weeks before you can overseed. So liquid is the way to go.
Okay, yeah, because for instance, here in our lawn here, we've done a good job keeping it green all summer, but we do have a lot of moss in it. We have some clover, so that all needs to be treated first before we do some overseeding.
Yes.
Okay, and then after we have that done and our lawn is kind of prepped to where we want it to be, what would be the next steps as far as doing an overseeding?
So the next step is I would put some lime on your lawn, kind of water that in. It'll start balancing out your pH level.
Okay.
We have a lot of acidity in the Pacific Northwest, and acidity is your lawn's enemy,
Okay,
I
right.
like to say. So it's important to prep your lawn for it can be healthy.
And that lime will also help with the moss issues too that a lot of us have.
Yes. Moss is very acidic. It loves acidic soil.
Okay.
Weeds also like acidity. So if we can keep the pH healthy, along with our overseeding, we're really going to help choke out some of those things you don't want.
Okay. And then picking out seed, JB has a great line of seeds, which is nice because it's all, it's a local company. You're picking out seeds that do grow here in our area. So, you have several different types of seeds. So what do we need to look for when we're picking out a grass seed?
So the first thing I like to point people to is our bags have direct sunlight hours on each of the bag. So that's really going to help you pick the right varieties for the area you're wanting to seed, because different varieties work better in the shade, as different varieties work better in full sun. So all of our bags have signature sod quality seed from the Pacific Northwest. So you're getting the highest quality seed that you're going to get.
Yeah, which is important. If we're putting the money and investing into our lawn, we want to make sure it's nice.
Yes.
So Chris, I noticed on the backs of the bag it lists various different types of grass seeds. What are all of the different types of seeds, or what are we supposed to know about those?
So talking about those sunlight hours, so we'll pick one with the sunshade. You'll notice that there's 2 different varieties of perennial rye, which likes that full sun area.
Okay.
And those fescues that are mixed in here, the fine fescues, are for more of a shade tolerance, which is why the hours start to drop for each bag. For instance, this one with the 6 hours or more, it's 100% ryegrass in here, 3-way ryegrass. But there's also, by picking the right varieties for your lawns, those perennial ryes and those fine fescues work well together. But if you have more of a tall fescue kind of thing, which is a wider bladed grass, but it's a lot less maintenance and watering. So those kind of fescues are different, but they're great for our territory as well.
So after we have our grass seed picked out, and our lawn is kind of prepped, how do we go about overseeding?
So the first thing you would want to do is mow your lawn as short as you can. without tearing it up, obviously. And then I would thatch and then aerate. What that'll do is bring oxygen to the root system and kind of break up the soil a little bit. And then you can go ahead and go through with an application of overseeding with your grass seed.
Okay. Is there like a soil or a peat that we should put down also?
Yes, I would suggest using either a peat moss or a topsoil. No more than 1/8 of an inch. You just want to feather it on top of there. We certainly don't want to bury it. We want it just to help keep it moist.
Okay.
And keep the birds from eating it.
Because that's what the seed is going to germinate into that, right? Is that the thought? Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's important once we have that down, we want to keep it moist. Right?
Yes, this is the most important part of the whole seeding.
Because what happens if that seed dries out after it's germinated?
Well, it would no longer germinate.
Okay.
So you will lose a lot of seed if you don't keep it moist, and it won't get the desired effect that you want.
Gotcha. And then is there, as far as on the backs of the bags or on your site, if people need more information as to, overseeding, do you have a place or a website you can send them to for information?
Yes, you can visit our website at jbinstantlawn.net. You can check out the blog. A lot of great things in the blog about proper fertilizing throughout the year, overseeding, about the aeration, and lime. So, great information.
Right, all good tips. Because I know a lot of our lawns did take a beating this summer. So for more information on how to get your lawn kind of back to life and looking good for this winter and next spring, make sure you go to gardentime.tv or to go to the JB Instant Lawn website, or we'll click you over for all the information. So make sure you get out to your garden centers and pick up some grass seed today. So Chris, it's been a pleasure being out here. Thank you.
See you. Thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
At Portland Nursery, we believe that gardening is a creative endeavor that enriches our experience, enlivens the spaces around us, and provides a safe haven for the mind. Portland Nursery has everything you need to make your space feel unique, inviting, and exciting. From houseplants and hedges to trees, tools, veggies, and herbs, our selection is always growing and changing, just like you. Come visit us today at 50th and Stark, 90th and Division.
Create a beautiful living space both inside and out with the help of Terra Casa.
Outside, you'll find pottery, fountains, and decor to make your garden unforgettable.
And inside, there are home furnishings and just the right accents to make your home warm, inviting, and most importantly, comfortable.
Terra Casa has a huge selection of merchandise to fit any home or budget. Plus, we still have all the unique and distinctive gifts that you have come to expect from Terra Casa.
Terra Casa in downtown Damascus.
Find everything you need for fall at Al's Garden and Home.
Well, we have a couple fall fun projects to do to decorate up your front porch. A lot of us, put the pumpkins out on the porch, but this kind of elevates it to the next step.
It sure is. And so we have two different kind of projects. And so Ryan, I think you should start yours first.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm just taking a regular old pumpkin, I'm leaving it whole, not carving it out. And what we're doing is we're decorating it with succulents. So the couple different routes you can do. I've chosen succulents. These are all hardy sedums and sempervirens that I harvested from work at Little Prince. We grow and sell these to lots of different garden centers, or you have a lot of them in your yard. So these are kind of nice because you can decorate the outside of the pumpkin and leave it out during the cold weathers. You can also do them with the indoor succulents or the tillandsias, but for today's project we're going to use the hardy ones. So what we started with is putting down just a little bit of moss. You can find the moss sometimes in the yard, or you can get them at like your craft store, or the independent garden centers will carry little bags of this. And this we just kind of hot glued. We got a hot glue gun here, and we just kind of tacked these down a little bit. And this kind of makes a nice little kind of a bed to start gluing this onto. And so what we've done, and so this is like a little semperviren, a little hen and chick that we've harvested out of the yard. They put off these lots of little babies. What we want to do is we'll kind of just cut off the bottom roots. We're not worried about keeping those roots on. So we'll just kind of trim those off like this. And then we'll just kind of put a little dollop of hot glue on there. like that. And then we will just start tucking these in throughout there. So I've chosen lots of different, different colors, different styles. And I also like to do a lot of like little, the little dangly things. So there's like this little sedum red wiggle has kind of this fun color. So I'll just, glue these up like this, stick those in there, and then we can just kind of tuck these in. And it's kind of fun to have this just dribble down. And the glue just sticks and dries pretty quickly. So while I'm finishing up mine and getting a little decorated, I'll throw it over to you, Judy, and you can show us your project of what you're doing.
All right. So mine is just a little bit more messy than Ryan's. So we're actually going to cut into this pumpkin. So I'm using one of those jack-o'-lantern carving knives. It's really nice on these hard-shelled pumpkins. And so you just kind of go around, and then you lift off the top and kind of make a space big enough for your plant. And of course, yes, there's going to be seeds like that. You could just cut them. You could, if you want to roast them, you can take all the guts out and then clean them and then roast these seeds, or you can just leave them in there. We're going to kind of make this as easy as possible. You want to put a little bit of soil in there, and we're using black gold, just all-purpose soil, and just kind of put that in there because we're using this like a container, like you would do any of the pretty containers that you have on your front porch, but we're going to use the shell of the pumpkin. And then we got this really nice little seasonal mum at Independent Garden Center. We're just gonna roughen up all those roots, and we're gonna plant it right into that pumpkin. And look at that, it's just about done. I'm gonna finish up dressing up my project, and Ryan, you're gonna finish up yours.
I'm gonna finish attaching mine, and we'll be done here in a minute, and we'll show you the finished product. So now that we have it all decorated up, in a finished product the way you like it, this guy can be left out on the porch all fall. And so what will happen is, as the pumpkin starts to rot later this fall or winter, you can just lift this entire moss thing with all of the succulents left on there and just go plant it either in the yard or in pot, because these will continue to draw moisture through the air and they'll start to root and grow, which is super fun.
And so with mine, I just kind of finished the edge with a little bit of that same moss just to kind of make it just a little more decorative. And if you had a bigger pumpkin, you could put more plants, would be lovely. Because at your Independent Garden Center, they are loaded with lots of fall interest plants. And then when this pumpkin begins to rot, and it'll be a little quicker than Ryan's, you can just take the plants out and plant them in a container or in your garden and compost the pumpkin.
So we hope this gives you a couple good ideas of how to elevate your pumpkin to the next level.
I'm at Tsugawa Nursery today in Woodland, Washington with Brian Tsugawa. And Brian, you cannot talk too much about fall color.
It's right here. Yep, it's one of the best times for introducing the fall colors, all the interest, the temperature changes. But yeah, it's a fun time, really.
And this one, I think that people don't really know about. So what is it?
This is Itea. There's a couple varieties, Henry's, Garnet, but mostly it's going to be a nice. It definitely let you know when. It's already starting. You got
beautiful.
Your, kind of the garnet, the reddish orange tones. Really a nice plant. You can have the white flower panicles, I guess you'd want to call them. Hummingbird plant too. So,
nice.
Yeah.
And full sun?
It is a full sun to part. You'll take the part.
And about 3 to 5?
It is, exactly. 4 to 6. The other one's a 3 to 4. Many varieties too. So I'm sure you can get one to fit in that medium tall deciduous shrub. Yeah.
And I think we love crepe myrtles for their bloom, but look at the fall color on them.
They do have a lot to offer. When you're doing a design, it's always nice to maybe consider some seasonal interest. And one thing I do like about the crepe myrtles, exfoliating bark, the peeling bark, that nice coppery look. But yeah, flowers, fall coloration, and then the winter would be the exfoliating bark. So that has a lot to offer there on crepe myrtles. Many sizes, many varieties to choose from.
You do, and you still have a really nice selection.
There is lots out there still.
And I see that you have shade maples, which look at the color on these, they're gorgeous.
They do. They just seem to be pretty consistent with their colors. They just never go wrong with you. So you can have the orange reds, the reds, and many, many different types of red maples.
Yeah, you have like Autumn Glory, Pacific Sunset, there's many different ones, but then if you don't want the big upright, you have Japanese maples.
There's a lot of Japanese maples to go in between there, so I'm sure, and again, Japanese maples always changing the seasons, let you know when the seasons are there, but yes, fall is here, that's right.
And I love those even, I think more so when the foliage all drops, because
right.
the texture of those branches are so pretty.
Yeah, you do. You see their branch structure. Some have, interesting bark color, so that has a lot to interest. But yeah, Japanese maples as well has a lot to offer.
And then right next to you, I don't think I've seen this many Nandinas together. That's a lovely selection.
We do like the Nandinas here, but what's nice about them, I think, is for as soon as that temperature changes around the winter, the colder, a lot of them will turn that nice, actually just almost like you do see, this is Moyer's red there, but they will turn pretty much a nice dark red colors on some. Some are more of that orange red tones, but it doesn't really get known for its attributes, and I think winter coloration is nice.
And nice spring flowers, white flowers.
Yes, they do, kind of fragrant, I believe. But it is evergreen, and they come from a 1.5 to maybe 4 to 6 foot on your taller ones there.
Yeah.
So everything in between, a little bit of different foliage textures. Some are fine, some are whiter. But this one alone, they're drought tolerant when you get them established. Pretty easy to grow, no bugs, no diseases.
Right.
Yeah.
Full sun?
Full sun, yeah.
Wow, I think that this is really a workhorse for any garden, really a great plant for that.
I think so, yeah.
And at Tsugawa Nursery, you got to come out. They're really ready for fall. They'll give you all kinds of advice. There's people to talk to here, and it's just such a nice, lovely place to just walk around and enjoy all the fall color. So if you have any other questions, please go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to the Tsugawa website, and you can get the directions to get here. Brian, thanks so much. Happy fall.
Thank you, Judy.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Welcome to the brand new Capital Subaru.
We've taken a big step forward.
We've built one of the most unique Subaru dealerships in the U.S.
And we know you're going to love it.
There's so much to see and do here, like shop at our exclusive pet store.
And unwind in one of our amazing new lounge spaces.
Or race through the obstacle course at our new dog park.
This place is pretty stinking cool.
It's time to discover again, with over 72,000 square feet just for you.
Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Don't let the cold and wet get you this winter. Warm up to a season of heat with Grimm's Fuel. Grimm's has plenty of wood and heating oil ready to deliver to keep you warm all winter long. Stay warm and cozy with Grimm's Fuel.
To bring the extraordinary colors of fall to your landscape, you need to come to a place that offers more than the ordinary. At Tsugawa Nursery, we love fall. From brilliant yellows to vibrant reds, we have one of the Northwest's largest selections of Japanese maples. At Tsugawa Nursery, we also have a colorful selection of hardy plants, so your home can be as beautiful as the season. Come visit us and see how we can help you make your season extraordinary. Tsugawa Nursery, growing beyond the ordinary.
Well, it's fall, and we get a lot of viewers this time of year asking what to do with their hydrangeas. And so we figured we'd come out here to the expert. I'm with Kristen. We're out at Hydrangeas Plus. And Kristen, fall is the time to be pruning our hydrangeas.
Yes, that's correct. Well, we've got a couple different families and a couple different methods of pruning those families. But let's start with the macrophylla.
Okay.
This is the most popular of the hydrangeas, of course.
Right, the big mop head
big
types,
mop
right?
heads. Yeah. And most of them bloom on the old wood, so that's why we have to be careful.
Okay.
We want to cut on this year's growth. I like to cut now because it's still green.
Right.
And you can really see where the old wood is versus the new wood.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go in here and grab a stem and bring it out so we can see.
Right, so the green is all the new growth.
This is all the new growth. This is the old wood.
Okay.
And so I would probably, it's going to be looking a little more like this. So we have a good node here,
right,
a good node here, and so I'd probably cut right about there.
Okay. So you can take quite a bit of the plant off.
Correct. And it will either be, it could be up to 2/3 or 3/4 of the plant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll take out some of the oldest, woodiest stems all the way down to the bottom, because that will help generate new growth,
okay,
from the bottom.
And that new growth, that you're going to start flushing, that's where you're going to get your blooms for the next year.
Correct.
So, now this time of year, my plants at home, I still have flowers.
I know.
On mine. So it's
it's a sacrifice.
Right. So it's really hard to be able to go in. But if I don't take those off this time of year, then I'm sacrificing the potential blooms for next year.
Correct. Right. But you can always use the old faded bloom heads for vases or a nice wreath for the front door.
Right, because I'll do that, because they'll start coloring up and get some nice fall color. So you can cut those off and use them and dry them and put them in a vase.
And still enjoy them.
Right. And now we have a couple other types of hydrangeas too that we'll want to go take a look at on how to prune those, because they're a little bit different.
Yes,
so
they
we'll
are.
head on down and take a look at those. Well, we're in a different part of the garden now, and the neighbors are out working their yard too. You can hear the blowers going. But, so we talked about the macrophylla, but then there are other types of hydrangeas too that might be pruned a little bit differently.
Correct.
So what is this type?
This is called the arborescens family. A familiar name would be Incredible, like this one, or Annabelle. These are the native hydrangeas, native to the United States, but they bloom on the new wood.
Okay.
So we can really take these back a long ways, and it's not so critical that we prune them right now. Okay. So that's kind of why we haven't quite
So you could leave these blooms up and enjoy these for the fall.
Correct.
And then these can be chopped down anytime throughout the fall, winter, or even early spring.
In the spring, yep.
Right.
And I like to cut these in the spring just because they don't get as floppy if I cut them in the spring.
And then there was another type of hydrangea too you talked about. You could do that too, the paniculata types, right?
Correct. And those are the panicle types, the cone-shaped ones, like Limelight is a popular name, Phantom, Grandiflora.
Okay. And then those are ones that you could prune anytime also.
Correct.
Okay. And now, I've looked at your website and you have a lot of great tips and care and videos on your website.
Correct.
Right? So if people wanted to learn more about that, they can go to your site. Yep. And then, if they want to see pictures, right?
Yep. We've got lots of pictures on site, and our Facebook page and our Instagram page are also full of hydrangea pictures.
Right. And so people can still order, you're shipping almost year round, right?
Yeah, around Christmas time it gets a little sketchy.
Yeah, you don't want to ship fully in the winter time,
right?
But they can still get on and place their orders so that they're getting out there. And then you're also doing, you'll occasionally do some sales.
Correct. We'll still be open by appointment for sure. So always call or check our website for hours.
Okay. So for more information on pruning hydrangeas and how to do that, make sure you go to Hydrangeas Plus's website, or you can go to gardentime.tv and we'll clip you over to their website. So Kristen, it's always a pleasure to be out here and see all the beautiful hydrangeas. So we appreciate all the information. So
you
thanks
bet.
for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for watching Garden Time today, and remember that Wooden Shoe Tulip Farm is open all year round. You can come and enjoy a great glass of wine, Red Barn hemp, or the wonderful gift shop.
And for more information on today's show or any of our other episodes, go to gardentime.tv. Judy and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week on Garden Time.
Cheers.
The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.